What up players, it's Wolboss T up in this mod. Today we're gonna start painting this Thunderwolf Cavalry model with like this dark brown fur color scheme. Hope you enjoy it and stay tuned for the next one. What up players, Wolboss T up in this mod. By some crazy happenstance of luck and fate and the powers of the warp, the first part of this video is completely lost. Don't know where it went. Tried to upload it. There wasn't enough room on my computer, so I did some stuff, and when I tried to look for the clips again, they were gone! So, let me just tell you what I did. It was only 2 steps. Really easy, and you don't need to see it, I guess. Mornfang Brown is the first coat, and it goes over the entire wolf. By the way, welcome to How to Paint a Thunderwolf Cavalry for the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Space Wolves Army. Just Mornfang Brown over everything, except for the metallic bits, things that are going to be like the bionics and stuff. I decided to do everything else. Once that dries, you're going to take Seraphim Sepia and just give a big wash over everything. So at this point, the Seraphim Sepia has dried, and we're going to be adding the next coat, which is Known Oil. And following the White Dwarf of March, is it March? Yeah, March 2012. There's color schemes for how the Games Workshop heavy metal painters painted their Thunderwolf Cav, and I am following it. So it says to take Badab Black, because this was the last issue before they moved over their color range, and paint Badab Black into all the coarse fur, as well as the paws and the entire face. Now by coarse fur, it looks like when you look at the finished model, they meant the fur that is longer than the short fur, which is over the majority of the body. So the longer fur is all this fur here at the front, down the back of the spine, and everything down here at the front as well. Because we're painting the face, it says paint the face with Badab Black. So we're going to be using our Known Oil. It says also paint the paws, so we're going to paint the Known Oil into all 4 of our Thunderwolf Cavalry's paws here. I guess if you have animals, then this would be like their, I guess what they call their socks, or the bottoms of their feet. I know Maki has white socks. He's a black cat. He has white socks on his feet. I can't believe I lost all the first part of this video. I mean, it's okay. It's not like I was doing detailed work. It's just the, you know, the beginning part of this video. But I hate when that happens. I need a new camera. Kickstarter. Right, and also the, is it the tail too? Let's see if paint the whole tail. Hey, the top of the tail. You paint the top of the tail. Like a skunk stripe. Alright, we're gonna let this dry, and that looks pretty savage and feral. We're gonna let this all dry and come back to it in just a bit. Because the most important part is, as you're letting it dry, before you go off and do something else, just want to make sure that it hasn't pooled anywhere where it will leave a nasty watermark when it dries. Oh, it looks like, actually, before we go, there's also they also paint a stripe down under and behind the front legs. So let's also get that as well. It starts here from the top, and it goes down and behind the front legs. When I paint with a wash, when I have to do a wash over a large area like this, I find that using a larger brush, like the head of the brush, it's always good to have it a little bit larger than a fine detail brush. Fine detail brushes are great for anything from, you can even dry brush with a fine detail brush if you have good brush control, but when you're doing washes over a large area like this, in order to spread the washes and be able to play with them while they're still not dry, it's always good to use a larger sized wash brush for that. The right tool for the right job. We're gonna let this dry and then we're gonna come back in just a bit. Okay, our known oil has dried, so we're gonna take our known oil and now we're gonna do one more coat on the face and a stripe, again, right down the back. So we're gonna make the face a little bit darker than the rest of the fur, and have like one very pronounced dark black stripe down the back. One thing I don't care about for the known oil and the new shades in general is that when they dry, they don't dry as, like, the finish isn't as cool looking as the old Devlin Mud and Badab Black. For some reason when Devlin Mud and Badab Black dried, they had I don't know if it was shinier or duller. I can't quite put my finger on it, but when I look at these new washes and they're dried on the model, they just don't look as vibrant. They don't make the model look as good. For some reason, I should go back and use Badab Black on something just to remember, or just so I can figure out like why I don't like the finish on these washes. And it's not just because it's the new paint and I hate change and I'm an old fogey like that, but I don't know, it's just something about the new washes that don't do it for me. Okay, just to double check, that is the face and the stripe. I can pop open my white dwarf again, make sure I'm doing it right. Yep, so not the paws, not anywhere else, just a stripe down the back and the face. So we're gonna let that dry for just a second more, and then we'll come back, and what we're gonna do next, so that you can get it ready, is, it says do a dry brush of Khemri Brown. We don't have Khemri Brown in the new range, we have Steel Legion Drab, so that's gonna be what we're going to do next. So make sure you get a dry brush, or something that you like to use as a dry brush. Personally, I think that Citadel's dry brushes are actually pretty good, so let me see if I can find one that I can use. Here, Citadel makes these. They have this like bluish purple look, but this one is a medium dry brush, and this is what we'll be using. It's kind of how it looks. It's kind of stubby at the end, but perfect for dry brushing. Okay, so we'll let this dry and then we'll come back when we're ready to dry brush on some Steel Legion Drab. Here we go, Tau Light Ochre for the paws and the belly. And it's a light dry brush again, so we're gonna take our dry brush and really just lightly apply it. Not sure how it's gonna affect our paws, so I'm gonna use it on this upturned one first. And then, that's not so bad. I think that's pretty good. Then on the belly, if you can reach the belly, and we're just gonna take our dry brush and stab and poke it in right onto there. I guess it's like the soft skin, fleshy areas. Alright, so that didn't take too long. Now it says highlight the face and the fur, or the coarse fur, which is the one on the back, with Calthan Brown. And Calthan Brown, as we know from earlier, the new Calthan Brown is Mournfang Brown, which we have here. It's our base coat. And we're gonna put that back on, so... Whoa! Oh, it says not a dry brush. Okay. So this is not a dry brush. It's just highlight. So whenever it says highlight in these articles, I like to take my brush and start with the ears, the most obvious parts. When you're highlighting, it's easy to see what to pick up on because of the dry brush that we did earlier. So find the places that got picked up by the dry brush and just fill in a little bit to those areas that are not shaded, if that makes any sense. So we're only looking for the skin areas, to re-highlight the skin areas, so not the fur. So like here on the snout, here on this side. These are such beautiful models and they're so expensive. You really gotta take your time and do them well. Okay, now we're gonna just go back over this coarse area stuff, almost like a dry brush, but with the paint that's still left on my brush here. I'm just going to be painting right over the coarse fur. All right. Now for this last part, it says to highlight the face and the coarse fur, the same areas as the last step, but this time we're going to do it with the mix of, the White Dwarf says Calthan Brown and Vomit Brown, and luckily we have those colors with us. It's Tau Light Ochre and Mournfang Brown. And since this is a final highlight, we're going to use our same brush, Mournfang Brown and Tau Light Ochre. And if you have a wet palette, then this is where you could use it again. Let's see if I can find mine right here. A 1-to-1 mix. We're gonna go back over the same areas. Starting with the ear here. Since this is the final highlight, I'm not gonna be going over the complete area like I had before. It's gonna be painting in like little strips. Making little single lines all the way down the front. Okay, now we're getting to the coarse fur here, so we're just gonna lightly, really lightly just drag our brush across the coarse fur, just trying to get the tips. If you feel like you make a mistake, easily corrected, just go back over with some Seraphim Sepia. Pretty much though, this is how you do it. This is gonna be it for the light brown fur model, I believe. Whew. So there we go. Okay, so that's the fur. Let's take a look at what other details we can do. We've got some silver, yeah, on our guys. So this next part is going to be for any of you out there who are building your Thunderwolf and have any silver pieces. You're of course going to need the silver base, which is lead belcher. Right here. So let's look for any silver bits and pieces. Right here, we've got a silver joint. Most of them have like little reinforced skeleton bits like in their legs. Some of their flesh might be broken through to see like a reinforced skeleton underneath. I think that's really cool. Right here on the side of my Thunderwolf's face, he's got some bionics. And he's got a metal doggy ear. That looks pretty cool. See if any of his, oh yeah, he's also, his mouth on the right side, this poor doggy is pretty messed up. So I'm gonna paint some metal on his jaw with the lead belcher. Ooh, gross, poor doggy. And down here. So he's got some metal teeth and a metal jaw. Might as well get into what the rest of his teeth and jaws are going to be looking like. So, if you have it, whip out now the Rackheart flesh. Rackheart flesh is such a beautiful color. It's not as good as the old Deneb stone, but I mean you can get a really nice looking dark ivory bone. So we're gonna just paint the teeth here. And if you have your Doombo Brown, then we can give our little doggy a tongue. Let's also give him a red eye. We're gonna take corn red to start with, paint in the eye, bionic eye, space age Cujo. And on the other side, Averlin Sunset for his real eye, which realizes real lies. Don't go too far with your Rackheart flesh because we're gonna use that in just a smidge to make, or to color the wolf claws. Ooh, looks kind of like the, if any of you saw the Never-Ending Story, as the creature in that, the wolf creature in that, was his name? Can't remember. He's being chased by the Nothing. We're gonna take, next we're gonna take Troll Slayer Orange. We're gonna highlight his bionic eye with that. So we're gonna take it just on the tip and paint it in the upper area. The curve there. Next, if you have it, Aerial Yellow for his Rio Doggy eye. Screwed up a little bit. If I have to fix a screw up that I make, then I usually just take some known oil, and usually what it is you just get paint on a different area that it should be on, right? So like I've got some of this yellow paint under his eye, so I'm just gonna take some some known oil and paint it under the Aerial Yellow. There, like that. And just like that, you're able to fix your mistake. The danger is you don't want to use too much Nuln Oil, or else it'll go over the area that you do not want it to, where the mistake isn't painted. Alright, the last thing we're gonna do is just paint some Rakarth flesh onto the rest of his claws. Yeah. So let's get a good focus here, and now this is taken from the White Dwarf painting guide, so it's not gonna end up looking very heavy metal worthy, but it's still a really easy color scheme, just a lot of dry brushing, washes, just a little bit of detailed work. I just saw something. There's a little bit of a, yeah, there's a little bit of more bionic work on his left leg, front left leg here. This wire. These look like gears. Interesting. Okay, so this is the first part, how to paint a Space Wolf Thunderwolf. Stay tuned for part 2 where we'll do some really minor highlighting and detail work, and then we'll be ready to paint the Space Wolf on his back. Latest, players!